Today let's continue with some more important topics, some basics. Control statements. So the next topic, control statements. So normally when you write your Java program and when you're executing it, so the statements will be executed top to bottom. Let's say if you have written 10 statements or 100 statements, so the execution will always happen top to bottom. So each and every statement will be executed in sequential manner. Let's say these are the different statements and the execution will happen like this. So each and every statement will be executed, right? But sometimes if we want to execute a specific statements based upon certain condition. Let's say now I want to execute only this particular statements based upon certain condition. And I want to execute another set of statements based on another condition. That means every time you don't need to execute the same set of statements. So based upon the condition, we can also choose the statements which we want to execute. Okay, this is basically called controlling your statements. Means instead of executing each and every statement in your program, we can select set of statements or group of statements, and we can execute only those group of statements based on certain condition. Okay, this is one scenario. Another scenario is, suppose I have set of number of statements and I want to repeat the same statements multiple times, again and again based upon certain condition. I want to repeat the same statements again and again multiple times. This is basically called as a loop. And we can execute the same set of statements multiple times repetitively. We call it as a loop. And we can execute set of statements based upon certain condition. This we can achieve by using conditional statements. So basically we can control the execution of your program or execution of your code by using control statements. There are three kinds of control statements. And by using those control statements, we can control the execution of your program or execution of your code. So mainly there are three kinds of control statements out there in Java. So the first type is conditional statements. Conditional statements. Conditional statements. And the second is looping or iterative statements. And the third is jumping statements. So these are the three kinds of control statements which we have. So what is the use of these control statements? You can control the execution of your program, or you can control the execution order of your program. That we can achieve by using conditional statements or looping statements or jumping statements. So we will discuss today conditional statements, mainly conditional statements, and the rest of them we'll discuss in the next sessions. So what are the conditional statements are available in Java? So there are four types of conditional statements. Conditional statements. There are four types of conditional statements. So one is only if condition. If condition. Second is if else condition. Third is nested if else, and fourth is switch case. So these are the four different conditional statements supported in Java. So the purpose of using the conditional statements is same, but we will use these statements in the different scenarios. If else, nested if else, and then we have a switch case statement. So these are the four different type of conditional statements supported in Java. So now we'll see practically how can we use these conditional statements and where we can use these conditional statements with the different type of examples. So the first condition statement is if. So how to use this if condition? The syntax of if condition is like this. If, and here we put some condition. And if this condition is true, then whatever steps we want to execute or whatever statements we want to execute, we can keep those statements inside this block. So this is called syntax. How to use if condition. So if this condition is true, then only these statements will be executed. If this condition is false, these statements will be ignored. These statements will not be executed. So this is only if condition. Let me show you how to use this. And there is no semicolon for if condition. Okay, if you need to put some condition, open bracket, closing bracket, and what are all statements you want to execute based on the condition, we can specify them inside this block. Now, let me show you some examples. Go to Eclipse, and this is our project which we already created. Now, today is day 4. Let's create new package, day 4, and click on finish. So, how to use if condition, only if condition. So, let's create a new class, and I'll name it as if condition demo. Take this main method also, and then say finish. Okay, so now my requirement is, my problem statement is, for example, I will take a person age as a variable. Let's say int person underscore age equal to, let's say, 25. This is a variable I have created. Now my requirement is, I want to check this person is eligible for vote or not. So according to my condition, if the person age is greater than or equal to 18, he is eligible for vote. That I want to verify. Okay, so I have simple variable created, person age equal to 25. Now I want to check this person is eligible for vote or not. So if you want to check this person is eligible for vote, simply we can check the condition. If the person age is greater than or equal to 18, we can simply say he is eligible for vote. But how can we verify that condition? How we can check this person age is greater than or equal to 18 or not? So now we can write one conditional statements. So if condition can use, if in the bracket we can specify the condition. What is our condition? The person age should be greater than or equal to 18. Then only he is eligible for vote. So here I am taking that variable, whatever a variable I define, that is person underscore age, that should be greater than or equal to 18. So will it return true or false? This, what is that operator we have used here? Greater than or equal to, which is a relational operator, right? So what is the relational operator will do here? It will compare the percentage is greater than or equal to 18 or not. And if it is greater than or equal to 18, it will return true. If it is not, return false. That means here we have to always specify a Boolean expression. Here we have to always write a Boolean expression which will return true or false. So if the condition is true, if the expression is returns to true, then we can specify the statements which we want to execute based on the condition here. Inside this bracket, I can say system.out.println eligible for vote, like this I can specify. Now, this particular statement will execute only if this condition is returns true. Only if this expression is returns true, then only the statement will be executed. And if this statement is written false, or if the expression is written false, the statement will not be executed. That means, based on the condition, we are executing this statement. If the condition is true, execute the statement. If the condition is false, then don't execute the statement. Okay, for example, let's say I'm taking 25. 25 is greater than or equal to 18 or not? Yes, the condition is true. So if the condition is true, then obviously the statement will be executed. So when I execute run as a Java application, so now we can see the output here. So statement is got successfully executed because the expression is returned true. Now I'll just make this as a 15. Now the percentage is 15. 15 is greater than or equal to 18. Expression return false. So if it is a false, the statement should not be executed. Now when I run this code, you will not get any output in the console. So no output, because we are not specifying anything else other than the statement. So only one statement we specified, and this will be executed only if this expression is returns true. Right? So this is how we can simply use if condition. If the expression returns true, statement will be executed. If the expression returns false, statement will not be executed. So this is how we can simply use if condition, only if condition. But if it is not true, then what should happen? We haven't specified that. We haven't specified that. Suppose if the condition is false, what should happen? If the condition is true, the statement will execute. If the condition is false, what should happen? That we haven't specified here. So this is only if statement. We haven't specified any else. This is only if statement. If the condition is true, statement will execute. If the condition is false, statement will not be executed. That's it. Only if condition, the first one. Okay. But sometimes we should also specify else part. That means if the condition is not true, then what should happen? That also we have to include, right? So for that we use another statement. If along with else. If block along with else. This is called a block. You can put one single statement here, or you can put multiple statements also allowed. In if condition, you can keep single statement or multiple statements. Okay, sometimes if the condition is false, then what should happen? That also we can specify in the else block. So this is only if condition. Okay. Now how can we use if and else block combinations? So the syntax will be like this. If we put one condition, if the condition is true, then the group of statements will be executed. And if this condition is false, for example, if this condition is false, then we write another block called else block like this. So if the condition is true, then these set of statements will execute. If the condition is false, then the else block will execute. Inside the else block also we can write the statements. Okay, now if the condition is true, if block will execute. If the condition is false, then else block will automatically execute. This is alternate. Okay, now this is called if else condition. If else condition. Okay, so how to use this if else condition? So let's say save this. Let me create another class. Suppose if condition is if condition return false, so then what we should happen? Let me just rename it. This is if else condition. Okay. So this is a if else condition. Same program. I'm taking the person age. If person age greater than or equal to 18, he is eligible for voter. And if this condition is false, then what we should do? Else. We have to write else block. In else block we can specify. And what we can specify? Not eligible. Not eligible for vote, like this. So based on the condition, we are choosing the statements. Right? If the condition is true, if block will execute. If the condition is false, else block will execute. At a time only one block will be executed. Both will not be executed because the condition will return true or false. Right? If it returns true, if block will execute. If it returns false, else block will execute. Now when I say 15, the condition is false. The expression will return false. So obviously else block will execute. Okay, so not eligible for vote. Either this one or this one. Only one block will be executed always. Okay, so this is how we can use else. Okay, so if condition and then else along with the else. And you should not put semicolon for if condition like this. Okay, for else also you should not put semicolon. Only the statements which we have included inside this block, we have to specify the statements. Okay, so if and else block like this. Fine. So sometimes you may have multiple statements inside this. Okay, so here if we have a single statement, you can put multiple statements or single statements. Suppose if you have a single statement here, the brackets are optional. Okay, the curly braces are optional. You can directly keep this statement inside the if condition. And here also, if you have a one single statement in the else block, these brackets are optional. Okay, so let me show you. So currently, I have single statement in every block, right? So what I will do is, I will try to remove the curly braces. Just observe this. Okay, now just observe here. I just try to remove the curly brace. When here also I'll remove it. Okay. So now just observe. When I'm running this, so you will get a not eligible for voter. Now I'll take another number 25 and you will get an eligible for vote. So how come it is executing? So that means if you have a single statement under the condition, you no need to specify the curly braces. You can directly write under this. So if the condition is true, the statement will execute. And if the condition is false, else the statement will execute. So if you have a single statement, you no need to put in the curly brace. But if you have a multiple statements, you have to include them in the curly braces. Okay, so what I will recommend is, even though if you have a single statement, better to keep inside the curly brace. Why? Because you clearly know whether the statement belongs to this condition or not. So by seeing the code, you will understand this particular block will be executed based upon this condition. Okay, so if you have a single statement, curly braces are optional. And if you have multiple statements, you should keep inside the curly braces. But that is another one, you can just remember this. So this is called if-else condition. So if condition is true, if a block will execute. If the condition is false, else a block will execute. At a time, only one block of statements will be executed. Okay. Now let me show you one more example for if-else condition. So the first example, you have already seen, eligible for vote or not. Now the example 2. So suppose we define one number and we need to find out that number is even or odd number. So we provide one number and that number we have to find even number or odd number through our program. Okay. So how to find out? So normally if I ask you, if I give some number like this, let's say I have given 10. So if I ask you whether it is even number or odd number, how we will tell? How we will know whether it is even number or odd number? You will simply say it is an even number. When I say 5, you can simply say which is an odd number. But how we will know whether this is even number or not? This is even number and this is odd number. So how we will know whether it is even number or odd? So we have some mathematical calculation behind that, right? So if any number divided by 2 returns 0 as a remainder, that is an even number. Okay, for example, let's say if we take any number, let's say 10. 10 divided by 2 returns 0 as a remainder. That is an even number, right? And 10 divided by 2, suppose 5 divided by 2, which is written 1 as a remainder. So other than 0, whatever remainder you will get other than 0, they all comes under odd numbers. It can be 1 or it can be anything else, right? This is a mathematical calculation, simply we can say. So if you want to say a number is an even number, that number divided by 2 should return 0 as a remainder. And if you want to say a number is an odd number, when I divided by number by 2, that should return non-zero. Other than 0, you will get any number as a remainder. That is an odd number. That is a logic. So now programmatically we have to find a number is even number or odd number. Okay. And how can we find out? So again, based on the condition. If a number divided by 2 equal to 0, if condition is true, then we can say even number. And if not, we can simply say odd number. So based on the condition, we can check. So how can we use if-else condition here? Let me create a new class. Even or odd number. So how to check a number is even number or odd number? So what we can simply say, first we'll take one number. Enter number equal to 10. So I have defined a variable, right? So now I need to find this number is even number or odd number. So how can we check? If this number divided by 2, which is returning 0. And which operator we have to use here? double equal to or equal to? Double equal to or equal to, which one we have to use? Condition. If number percentile 2 returns 0 as a remainder, we have to compare this. The remainder, whatever is written by this expression, should equal to 0 or not. We want to compare. So we have to use comparison operator. That is double equal to, right? So if number percentile 2, why we are using percentile instead of slash? Because percentile operator will return remainder, right? It is also division operator, but it will return the remainder. That we want to check. So number percentile 2 equal to 0. That means if this is true, when this expression true, if number percentile 2 returns 0, then this expression will returns true, overall expression, right? Boolean value will be returned. So if this condition is true, then what we can simply say, that number is even number. Okay, that number is even number. And other than 0, okay, suppose this condition falls whenever the remainder is non-zero. That means other than 0, if it is written any other value, this condition become false. So in that case, what we can simply say, it is an odd number. That we can specify in else block. Else block, we can say system.out.printf odd number, like this. So at a time only one statement will be executed based on the condition. So if the condition is true, if block will execute. If the condition is false, else block will execute. So when I execute this, it will say Java application. Even number. So we can say 10, right? So 10 is an even number. Let's say 15. 15. Now, condition is false. So obviously, else block will execute, which is odd number. Okay. So this is how we can simply use if else condition. Okay. If else condition we can use. Now let me show you some more examples. Example 3. We can practice so many examples like this, yes, and number of examples you can find. So now I want to check a number is positive, negative or 0. Check a number is positive or negative or 0. So if I provide a number as an input, and the program should display whether that number is positive number or negative number or 0. So normally how can we check a number is positive, negative or 0 as per mathematical calculation? How can we verify a number is positive, negative or 0? How can we say? On what basis we can say a number is positive, negative or 0? Positive, negative or 0. How can we find them? Yes. Simple calculation, right? If any number which is greater than 0, that is positive number, right? If any number, if I take any number as a variable, if that is greater than 0, obviously that is a positive number, right? And if the number is less than 0, that is a negative number. That is a negative number. And if the number is equal to 0, obviously that is a 0, right? So we have a multiple conditions here. So far we have seen only one condition, one if condition. So sometimes we have to write multiple if conditions. Multiple conditions we have to verify. If the number is greater than 0, say positive. If the number less than 0, say negative. If the number equal to 0, then say 0. So here we have to check multiple conditions. If you have only one condition, then we can use only one if condition, one statement, one if statement here, just like this. If condition is true, block will execute. If the condition is false, another block will execute. Only one single condition which we have here. But if I have multiple conditions, in case if I have multiple conditions, then how we can specify that?